What happens when the plans you made fall apart and you're back to square one? When you drop out of school, lose a job, and a relationship, what comes next? More often than not, the answer is simply, I don't know. There is an overwhelming sense of uncertainty which arises whenever you've got to build things anew. That's where you find yourself at the beginning of Night in the Woods. Recently I came to a conclusion that there is an unspoken subgenre of games sitting somewhere between cozy comfort and lasting emotional devastation. Games like Firewatch, Spiritfarer, Gris, Outer Wilds, or, you guessed it, Night in the Woods, draw you in with beautiful art, memorable characters, and relaxing atmosphere, only to later hit you with questions you'd normally spend your life trying to avoid. They force you to confront grief, burnout, adulthood, identity, or purpose, and they rarely offer easy answers. Instead, they make you feel a little less alone in asking those same questions in the first place. Which, by the way, is considerably cheaper than therapy, assuming you grab them during a Steam sale. Those games remain hopeful in their presentation, and even if they don't always end on a positive note, they at least give you an outlet for dealing with life's more difficult experiences. Every one of these games revolves around a different question, and the one Night in the Woods keeps coming back to is, what do you do when the future you imagined never comes? Our introduction to the game's protagonist, May Borowski, comes at a rather low point of her life. For reasons unknown, at 20 years old, she drops out of college and moves back to her hometown, Possum Springs, where her parents forget to pick her up because they chill like that. From the very beginning, Night in the Woods starts laying tracks for the heavy plot points that come later, but it eases the players in. At first, May is far more interested in how the town has changed during her absence. We get to freely explore most of Possum Springs, meeting new and old friends as the protagonist reminisces about how things used to be. And oh boy, things sure have changed. I mean, the food donkey's gone, so I don't know where everyone's buying groceries now. By the end of the day, May's reunited with the whole gang. Her best friend Greg, his boyfriend Angus, and Bee. The reunion starts sweetly. Everyone heads to band practice before grabbing pizza at their favorite local diner, and for a moment it almost feels like May never left. Greg is exactly the kind of friend you'd want to see after coming home. Loud, impulsive, and endlessly energetic. He's the one who always dragged May into what he lovingly calls crimes, which apparently range anywhere from smashing fluorescent lamps to knife fights. Angus, on the other hand, is calm and reserved, to the point it makes you wonder how he and Greg ended up together in the first place. He's the kind of person you'd call if you ever needed a trusted adult. Then there is Bee, who comes across as bitter at first, maybe even resentful towards May. The two used to be friends, but now she's the only one who doesn't seem excited May is back, and you quickly realize there is more to it than her simply not liking our protagonist. The longer their conversations go on, the harder it becomes to ignore that everyone else's lives kept moving while May was away. That's when the cracks start to show. May dodges questions about college, the gang's mutual friend turns out to be missing, and there's this constant feeling like you don't have the context for what's going on. That's how Night in the Woods lures you in to explore these complicated, lifelike topics, with rock music and pizza. Oh, and also they find a severed arm. The fluff plot of Night in the Woods, as I have just decided to call it, revolves around mysterious events happening in and around town. Missing persons, ghost sightings, something in the forest. There's this unmistakable Twin Peaksy eeriness hanging over Possum Springs, and naturally May gets wrapped up in the investigation. The mystery keeps up the game's momentum, but that's not why Night in the Woods stays firmly placed in your memory after the credits roll. It's about the characters involved with these occurrences, their stories, motivations, and troubles, rather than the events themselves. Each person you meet in the game has something different going on in their lives. Greg wants to leave town and build a future with Angus. Bee has to set aside her ambitions to run the family business. Selmers aspires to be a poet. Laurie struggles with low self-esteem. Germ befriends an opossum. These characters aren't written as empty husk of a set dressing for the town. They resemble real people, with real lives and real issues. And each day they're up to something different. What's really cool about Night in the Woods, however, is that it trusts the player to decide what's worth caring about. Nearly every conversation has optional branches you can follow up on. Every corner of Possum Springs hides another story, and no one's forcing you to see all of it. Inevitably, you start gravitating towards certain characters. Maybe you keep checking in on May's mom every morning. Maybe you spend your time pestering the food stand owner. Maybe you stop to look at constellations with Mr. Chazakov. Before long, you realize you've been shaping your own version of Possum Springs by simply choosing who to spend time with. That lack of linearity is further underlined on certain days when you get to hang out with one of your besties, Greg or Bee. And choosing one means missing out on spending time with the other. Now I know what you're thinking. That's lame, I want to hang out with everyone. But that's just not how life works. Time and again, Night in the Woods proves how well it understands the relationships we build with others. How growing up sometimes means drifting apart. How different values create rifts between people. How responsibilities take over our free time. And there is just not enough time to be best friends with everyone. It's one of those moments where the game quietly reminds you that adulthood and everything that follows means making choices you never wanted to make in the first place. Similarly, your decisions won't result in an entirely different ending. That's just not the type of game this is. What they will impact, however, is who will be there for May when she needs it most. And throughout the game, there's multiple instances of her needing to rely on others for support. After all, she often acts careless, irresponsible, or immature. But she's not unjustified. May Borowski's plans have all fallen apart. She's an adult back in her childhood bedroom, surrounded by people who seem to have kept their lives moving while she was gone. She's asking the exact same question I opened this video with. If that's not when you're allowed to act a little responsible, I don't know when is. Now, the more she acts this way, the closer she gets to the people around her, and very soon it turns out she's not the only one struggling with adulthood. Greg, Bee, Angus, Possum Springs is full of people whose lives didn't turn out the way they expected. Even the town itself acts as a character when you notice how plagued it's being by the economic decline, the unemployment rate, the empty storefronts, or people simply running away. Eventually, you realize Night in the Woods becomes something much bigger than May's story. The people around her aren't there to teach her a lesson. They're trying to answer the same questions she is. Because what do you do when your future disappears? May responds by pretending she never had to grow up in the first place. Not because she's incapable of being an adult, but because adulthood suddenly stopped making sense. Bee, on the other hand, never got the chance to delay growing up. Instead of having too little responsibility, she's handed far too much of it. She had to sacrifice her own ambitions to take care of her family, and in the process became envious of May. Then there is Greg, who sort of faces the opposite problem. He has a future ahead of him, but getting where he wants to be means leaving behind the town, the people he cares about, or even the version of himself he grew up being. And Angus, who seems to be the most mature and well-adjusted, his quote-unquote normalcy didn't come without a price. The more you learn about him, the more you realize how much he had to go through to end up where he's now. But here's the thing. From May's perspective, everyone's got life figured out. And that's when you find out what the real message of Night in the Woods is. Everyone thinks they're the only person falling behind. May thinks Bee has her life figured out. Bee thinks May wasted opportunities she would have done anything to have. Greg is scared of what comes after leaving and that he won't be enough for his partner. Angus spent years building the stability everyone assumes came naturally. The truth is, nobody has it figured out. Everyone's future keeps changing in ways they never expected. Band practices, pizza parties, hangouts, stealing pretzels. None of these solve anyone's problems. They don't send May back to college, they don't undo Bee's or Angus's sacrifices, they don't make Greg's uncertainty disappear, but they do remind each of them that they're not carrying this weight on their own. Having people around makes having doubts survivable. Night in the Woods never promises that everything will work out. Instead, it proves that feeling lost is much easier when you don't have to feel this way alone. This is a game I keep coming back to every now and then. Usually when I feel a little lost or catch myself feeling like I'm falling behind. Even with these videos trying to grow my channel into something I could do full time, I often feel like I'm moving too slowly or that everyone else is just better at it than I am. But every time I revisit this story, I'm reminded of something I inevitably forget, that people around me are just as lost as I am. I don't think Night in the Woods has all the answers. In fact, I think it's remembered precisely because it refuses to pretend that it does. After all, no one has all the answers. But sometimes the people we care about can keep us company while we look for them. And somehow, that's enough.